Every school in America has that one dude in the class that's just average. He's not this disliked nerd, nor is he this, popular jock. He's just an average dude. Well, that's kind of how I consider the Honda Civic. Just a normal car. It's everyone's go-to car for an economy driver, and it just gets the job done. It's super reliable, and you really have nothing to write home about in terms of complaints. Well, what if I told you that that guy in high school went to college, went to the gym, got ripped, and everyone wants to be his friend, everyone wants to hang out with him, he's super popular, and this guy just can't get enough? Well, that's what I would say this is. The Honda Civic Type R. What's going on, everybody? My name is John, and you're watching Driver's Theory. And today, I am in a 2024 Honda Civic Type R. Now, I have wanted to review this car for a while now. And the reason being is because, one, I have the itch to drive a manual again. But two, I wanted to know how much the FL5 generation, which is this car, how much different it was from the FK8. I used to own an FK8 Type R, and I love that thing. And to this day, I regret selling it. And so when I had the opportunity to review this, I jumped right on it. Now, I've been able to live with this thing pretty much for the whole weekend. I had a buddy of mine let me borrow it, and he wanted to hear my thoughts on it. And so this car is pretty much completely stock, minus the exhaust. This has a Remark Sport Touring exhaust on it. My biggest gripe with my FK8 was the fact that it sounded like a vacuum cleaner. The Remark exhaust that's on this sounds so stinking good. It's not raspy like you would expect a normal Civic exhaust to sound. This actually has a lot of tone to it. It's a lot of deep tone, but you don't lose that high revving sound that you get out of a Type R. Oh, I love this thing. Now, I actually ran into one dilemma with this car while I was driving it. There are so many things right with this that it was hard for me to find things that I didn't like. Everything in this car compared to the FK8 just feels way more dialed in, way more tuned, and everything just feels a lot sharper. Probably one of the biggest things that I like about this car is how dialed in the suspension feels and how sharp it feels. The thing I love about this is it gives you so much confidence when you go into a turn at high speeds. You feel planted and you feel secure to the ground. And when I'm driving a car that is built for a track purpose, that's exactly the feeling I want to have when I'm going into a high-speed corner. Is I want to feel confident. Something that this car has that I absolutely love that other manual transmission cars don't have is an engaging, fun manual transmission. There are brands out there that I've driven manual cars of that I was expecting to have an engaging experience, and I was actually left very disappointed. And the car that I'm actually really thinking about right now is the new M2 from BMW. I was able to drive a new M2 that was a manual, and it just felt so disengaging. I did not feel connected to the car at all. The clutch was spongy and really light, and the gear selector there's no notchiness, and it didn't feel stiff at all. It just felt limp, and I didn't like that. The thing is you don't get that feeling with the Type R's transmission. The clutch has weight to it. The gear selector is notchy, and it's stiff, and it's direct. Everything that you want in a manual transmission, you get in this car. Not to mention, I actually really like the auto rev match that's in this. The one thing that I do have a gripe with is, and I actually had this issue with my FK8, is the auto rev match works great. right up until you need to get into second gear. Now, most of the time it will auto rev match into second gear, but every once in a while, if your RPMs are low enough, it won't downshift into second. And I've always kind of had that issue with my FK8. I actually kind of experienced the same thing with this car once or twice. Other things to note on this is the steering is a little bit heavier than the FK8, and it actually feels a lot sharper, which I like. Again, this car just feels a lot more precise than the FK8 did. It's an evolved version of what the FK8 is, and honestly, this is the ultimate version of the Type R. Not to mention, probably my favorite thing is the wheel hop in first and second gear is like gone. If you're gunning it from like a dump, you know, if you dump the clutch and you gun it, you're gonna have that wheel hop. But other than that, the wheel hop in this thing is gone, and I love it. Let me tell you, I love it. Now, in the midst of everything that is right with this car, there's one thing I don't like. And honestly, it's not even that big of a deal. My one issue with this car and how it drives is the weight of the throttle. Now, I prefer a heavier, more weighted throttle. To me, it gives me a little bit more feel in my leg and in my foot of how much throttle I'm putting down. And this car has a very light throttle. And so it's kind of hard to gauge sometimes, at least for me, how much gas you're giving it. But other than that, this thing is incredible. Now, there's one thing about this car that I hate. I can't stand it at all. And you know what it is? It's the fact that they are not making this anymore. My buddy told me the other day that they are done making the FL5 Type R after the 2025 year. And to me, that hurts a lot. Reason being is there's a group of cars out there that was at one point slowly dying, and now it's quickly dying. And that community of cars is the performance hot hatches. Right now, the best hot hatches you can buy on the market right now are the FL5 Type R, the GR Corolla, or the Volkswagen GTI or Golf R. And the thing is that I've driven a manual Golf R, and I've gotten to ride in a GR Corolla, and neither one of those cars gave me that feeling that the Type R does. In my opinion, you don't get enough car in the Golf R for the price. It's not really that engaging of an experience. The interior is nice, don't get me wrong, but besides that, there's really nothing fun about it. I would prefer to buy a Golf R in the DSG, to be honest. And again, paying 50 grand or more for a hatchback, it just seems a little absurd, especially for something that you really don't get a ton of car with. And honestly, I can say the same thing about the GR Corolla. My issue with the GR Corolla, I haven't driven one yet, and if anyone out there has one that wants to change my mind about it, please reach out to me and I will drive it, and I will review it honestly. But the thing about the GR Corolla that I didn't like is it just didn't feel special. Don't get me wrong, it's a great car, and I had a great experience riding in one. But my issue is that it kind of stops at being a good performance car. That's really all it has to offer. Does it look good? Yes. Does it look good enough to where it feels like it's different or it's special than the other Corollas? Me personally, I don't think so. Does the interior make you feel like you're in something special? It really doesn't. Yeah, you get different seats, you get some nicer seats in the GR Corolla, but you don't get full-on buckets like this thing. The thing about the Type R is it doesn't just drive like it's something special, but it has the exterior and the interior that also just makes you feel special. The exterior of this car is aggressive, and you get an actual functional wing in the back that actually does provide downforce. The Golf R and Corolla do not have that at all. And the thing is the interior of the Type R, are there similarities to the Civic? Yes. But There's so many differences, little differences, but differences that make it feel special. You get red bucket seats. You get all this red carpet, red seat belts. You get ambient lighting in the car. You get shift lights on your gauge cluster. You don't get that in a normal Civic. And yes, are some of these small things? Yes. But do they make a big difference? Yes. The Type R is such a great car, and it's a car that I hate to see go. And honestly, after driving this, it makes me regret selling my FK8 even more. However, if I still have my FK8, I would sell it for one of these. This car has been such a fun car to drive, and thank you to my friend Micah for letting me drive this car. Without further ado, let's pull off to the side. Let's close this thing out. Being able to drive the latest and final generation of the Type R was an absolute blast, and I loved every second of it. And to be honest, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face even if you tried. Everything from a high revving Honda engine to a track built performance, and even something as amazing as just an engaging manual transmission just completes the experience of driving a Type R. As much as it pains me to say that they're not going to be making another Type R, it makes me feel good that Honda went out and built the absolute best version of the Type R that they could. Honda took the Type R, completely maxed it out, and gave it the farewell that it deserves. So what do you guys think? Is the Type R the best performance hatchback that you can buy on the market? Do you think Honda will bring the Type R back in the future? Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, God bless. Have a good one.